Good afternoon. Have you ever wondered why someone who hurt you suddenly finds their way back into your life? Just when you've started to heal, just when you've begun to move forward, they reappear, sometimes with an apology, sometimes with excuses, and sometimes with nothing but their presence. People return for many reasons, but the most important thing to understand is that their return has little to do with you and everything to do with them. Everything in this world operates on energy, including human relationships. When two people connect, they exchange emotions, thoughts, and experiences, creating an invisible bond between them. Whether the relationship is built on love, friendship, or even conflict, an energetic imprint is left behind. When someone hurts you, they don't just walk away with a clean slate. They carry the weight of their actions, knowingly or unknowingly. That energy lingers, and in many cases, it creates a pull that eventually brings them back. When a person leaves after causing pain, they may believe they have moved on. They may tell themselves that the past is behind them, that they don't need closure, that they can continue forward without looking back. But energy does not simply disappear. It seeks balance. If a person has wronged someone, the imbalance remains within them. It manifests as guilt, regret, or an unspoken discomfort they cannot quite put into words. They may suppress it for a while, distracting themselves with new experiences, people, or ambitions, but deep down there remains an unsettled feeling, an awareness that something was left incomplete. That is why, even after weeks, months, or even years, they find themselves drawn back. Sometimes they do not even know why they are returning. They may convince themselves that they miss the person they left behind or that they have suddenly realized their mistake, but more often than not, they are being pulled by the unresolved energy they left in that relationship. It is not necessarily about love, nor is it always about redemption. Sometimes it is simply the subconscious mind seeking relief from its own discomfort. For some, returning to the person they hurt is a way to ease their guilt. If they can reconnect, if they can exchange a few words, if they can make peace, they believe they will feel lighter. They may not even seek forgiveness openly, but their presence itself is an attempt to smooth out the imbalance they created. They hope that by stepping back into your life even for a moment, they can silence the discomfort that has been following them. For others, it is not guilt that brings them back, but rather a need to reclaim something they once had. The energy they shared with you was a source of comfort, validation, or power. When they left, they may have believed they could replace it elsewhere, but when they failed to find it, they were drawn back to what once made them feel secure. This is why people often return when they are at their lowest, when they feel lost, broken, or uncertain. They seek familiarity because it makes them feel safe. Then there are those who return because they cannot stand the idea that you have moved on. Their energy was once intertwined with yours, and now they sense that you have detached, that you have grown beyond them. They come back not necessarily because they care, but because they feel the shift. The moment you begin to reclaim your own energy, when you stop waiting for them, when you finally embrace the idea of life without them, they feel it. And that realization unsettles them. It is not love that pulls them back. It is the discomfort of losing the influence they once had over you. Energy is powerful and it does not lie. When someone returns after hurting you, it is often because their own energy is out of balance. They may not understand it, but they feel it. What they do not realize is that coming back does not always restore the balance they seek. Sometimes it only serves as a reminder of the choices they made. Life moves in cycles, and everything that happens follows a pattern. Relationships, emotions, and personal growth all operate within these cycles, repeating themselves in different ways until the lessons within them are fully understood. When someone leaves your life after causing pain, it might seem like the end. But endings are often just pauses in a much larger cycle. If something remains unresolved, whether in thought, emotion, or action, it has a way of coming back, not necessarily because it is meant to continue, but because it is not yet complete in the way the universe intends it to be. When two people connect, they create a dynamic, an exchange of emotions and experiences that does not simply vanish when one person walks away. Even if the separation is painful, even if words are left unspoken, the energy of that connection still exists, lingering in the background of both people's lives. It may seem like the situation has ended, but in reality, it has only shifted to a different stage. If there is something unfinished, an unlearned lesson, an unresolved feeling, or an action that was never taken, life has a way of bringing it back to the surface. This is why people return, sometimes when you least expect it. They may not consciously understand why they feel the need to reach out again, why their mind keeps wandering back to something they thought they had left behind. But deep down, the cycle is still open. The mind and heart are not always in sync. One may try to move on while the other still holds on to something unspoken, something unanswered. Until that energy is fully processed, until the emotions are fully acknowledged and the lessons are fully absorbed, the cycle does not close. And when a cycle remains open, it finds a way to reintroduce itself into your life. Some people come back because they feel the pull of what was left undone. Maybe they left with anger and now they realize they never got to express what they truly felt. Maybe they walked away in silence and now they realize silence did not bring them peace. Or maybe they thought they could move forward without looking back, only to find themselves haunted by the weight of the past. The cycle they thought was over was never truly finished. It was just waiting for the right moment to resurface. But sometimes people return not because they need to finish something for themselves, but because you still have something left to learn. The universe does not bring back what you have fully outgrown. If someone reappears after hurting you, it is not always about them. It is about you. It is about testing whether you have truly healed, whether you have set the boundaries you once lacked, whether you are ready to choose yourself in a way you could not before. Life presents the same lessons until they are fully learned. And if you have not yet mastered this particular cycle, it will continue to show up in different forms. At times, unfinished cycles are not about emotions but about patterns. People return because they are stuck in a loop of their own making, repeating behaviors without even realizing it. They leave, they regret, they return. This pattern continues because they themselves have not changed. And until they do, they will keep playing out the same scenarios with different people over and over again. When someone comes back, it is often an opportunity to recognize whether they are truly different or if they are simply following their own predictable cycle. Some connections are meant to return because they still hold something valuable for us. Others return only to test whether we have finally learned to let go. And in every case, the cycle does not end until the lesson within it has been fully understood. People often return to what is familiar, not because they have changed, but because they seek comfort. Growth is difficult, uncomfortable, and at times painful. It requires self-reflection, accountability, and the willingness to step into the unknown. Most people are not willing to do that. Instead, they seek what feels easy, what feels safe, what does not challenge them to confront their own mistakes. When someone comes back after hurting you, it is often not because they have grown, but because they are looking for the comfort they once found in you. When they walked away, they might have believed they were moving towards something better. They may have convinced themselves that they no longer needed you, that they could replace what you provided, or that leaving you behind was the right decision. But comfort is not easily replaced. Once the excitement of something new fades, once they realize that the world does not offer them the same patience, love, or understanding that you did, they begin to feel the absence of what they lost. And instead of growing through that discomfort, instead of learning from their decisions, they take the easier route. They return to what once made them feel safe. It is important to understand that this return is not a sign of personal transformation. If they had truly changed, they would not come back seeking the same dynamics that existed before. Instead, they would come with new awareness, with responsibility for their past actions, with the ability to give rather than just take. But more often than not, their return is not about offering something new. It is about reclaiming what once gave them a sense of security. They do not return with an open heart. They return with open hands, hoping to receive the same comfort they once had without doing the work to deserve it. There are people who leave not because they are unhappy, but because they believe something easier or more exciting is waiting for them. They chase temporary highs, distractions, or illusions of a better life only to realize that nothing feels as stable as what they left behind. But instead of using that realization to grow, they take the shortcut. They reach for what is familiar, hoping it will embrace them without question, without consequence. They do not return because they are ready to build something stronger. They return because they do not want to face the discomfort of their own choices. Growth requires self-awareness. It demands that a person acknowledges their flaws, understands their patterns, and actively works to change them. But change is uncomfortable. It forces a person to sit with their regrets, to recognize the pain they have caused, to take full responsibility for their actions. Many people are unwilling to do this, so instead they return to where they were last comfortable, hoping to be accepted as they are without the effort of transformation. They do not come back as new versions of themselves. They come back hoping that you have stayed the same, hoping that you will still offer them the same care, the same patience, the same unconditional acceptance that allows them to remain unchanged. This is why people often come back when they are at their lowest, when life has humbled them, when they feel lost, when the world has not given them what they expected. They reach for the person they once knew would be there. But this is not growth, this is refuge. They are not looking to repair the damage they caused. They are looking for a place to rest while avoiding the work they need to do within themselves. They do not seek to heal the connection. They seek to use it as a temporary escape from their own reality. It is easy to mistake their return for love, for remorse, for the desire to make things right. But true change does not come from running back to what is come. True change comes from facing discomfort, from sitting in the consequences of one's actions, from actively choosing to grow beyond past mistakes. And most of the time, when someone comes back after hurting you, it is not because they have done that work, it is because they have avoided it. They do not return because they have changed, they return because they do not want to. Not everyone who returns deserves a place in your life again. It is easy to feel conflicted when someone who once hurt you comes back, especially if they do so with apologies, promises, or a sudden realization of your worth. A part of you might want to believe them, to give them the benefit of the doubt, to hope that time has changed them into someone better. But not everyone deserves a second chance because not everyone has earned it. The mistake many people make is assuming that someone's return automatically means they have changed, that their presence alone is proof of growth, that the simple act of coming back should be enough to erase the past. But actions are not enough. Intention, consistency, and genuine transformation are what matter. A second chance is not something that should be given freely, especially to those who walked away carelessly or inflicted pain without remorse. When someone returns, it is important to ask why. Not just why they are back, but why they left in the first place, why they caused harm, why they did not see your value when they had you. People often come back not because they want to do better, but because they feel entitled to the same space they once had in your life. They assume they can re-enter as if nothing happened, as if time will naturally heal all wounds without them having to take responsibility for what they did. But healing does not work that way. Growth does not work that way. And forgiveness does not mean access. There are those who return only because they lost something elsewhere. The world did not treat them as kindly as you did. Other people did not tolerate their behavior. They ran out of options, and now they seek to reclaim what once felt safe and easy. But these are not the people who deserve a second chance. These are people looking for convenience, not connection. If they truly valued you, they would not have left in the first place, or if they did, they would have taken full accountability for their actions upon returning. They would not just show up, they would show change. Then there are those who return because they fear being forgotten. Their ego cannot handle the idea that you have moved on, that you have outgrown them, that your life is continuing without their presence. They do not miss you, they miss the control they once had, the certainty that you would always be there. They do not want to repair the past, they want to make sure they still hold a place in your heart. But a second chance is not for those who come back out of fear. It is for those who come back with respect, accountability, and a deep understanding of the pain they caused. Not everyone who hurts you is meant to be in your life again. Some people are meant to be lessons, not lifelong connections. Some are meant to show you what you will never tolerate again. Some are meant to teach you your worth by walking away and showing you that you were always whole without them. Giving a second chance should not be based on familiarity or emotion. It should be based on truth. Has this person truly changed? Have they acknowledged their mistakes in a way that goes beyond words? Have they taken actions to show that they will not repeat the same patterns? If the answer is no, then they do not deserve to return to the place they once had in your life. There is a difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. You can forgive someone for what they did, but that does not mean they deserve a place beside you again. You can release the anger, the resentment, the pain, and still choose to walk away. A second chance is not just about the person who hurt you, it is about you. It is about your peace, your growth, your future. And not everyone deserves to be a part of that future, no matter how much they may want to be. Letting go is one of the hardest things to do, yet it is also one of the most powerful. People hold on to relationships, memories, pain, and expectations, believing that if they just try a little harder, if they wait a little longer, if they give a little more, things will change. But there are times when holding on only prolongs suffering. There are times when the weight of what you are carrying is not helping you grow. It is only holding you back. Letting go is not about weakness or giving up. It is about recognizing when something no longer serves you, when something is draining you instead of nourishing you, when something is keeping you stuck instead of allowing you to evolve. People often struggle to let go because they associate it with loss. They fear that by releasing something, they are admitting defeat, that they are walking away from something that could have been fixed, that they are closing a door they may never be able to reopen. But letting go is not about loss. It is about freedom. It is about understanding that some things are meant to end, that some people are meant to leave, that some situations are meant to teach us something and then fade away. The longer you hold on to something that is no longer aligned with your growth, the more you prevent yourself from stepping into the life that is meant for you. Letting go requires trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process of life, trust in the idea that what is meant for you will never require you to beg, force, or suffer. Holding on out of fear only creates more pain. People stay in unhealthy relationships because they fear being alone. They cling to past mistakes because they fear they will never be able to make things right. They replay conversations, regrets, and heartbreaks because they fear that moving forward means losing a part of themselves. But the truth is, holding on to what hurts does not bring back what was good. It only keeps you chained to what is already gone. There is strength in releasing what no longer aligns with your peace. There is power in choosing yourself, in deciding that your well-being is more important than an attachment to something that is breaking you. Letting go does not mean you never cared. It does not mean you do not feel the pain of loss. It does not mean you are unaffected by the memories of what once was. It simply means you are choosing to no longer allow that pain to define you. You are choosing to free yourself from the cycle of overthinking, from the weight of what-ifs, from the illusion that holding on will somehow bring back what has already left. Some people fear that letting go means forgetting, but it does not. You do not have to erase the past to move forward. You can hold on to the lessons, the growth, the love that was once real, without holding on to the attachment that keeps you stuck. You can remember someone fondly while still accepting that they are no longer meant to be in your life. You can honor what once was while still embracing what is yet to come. Letting go is not a one-time decision, it is a process. Some days you may feel light and free as if you have finally moved on, and then suddenly a memory, a place, a song, or a scent pulls you back into the past. That does not mean you have failed. It does not mean you are not healing. It simply means you are human. Healing is not linear, and letting go does not happen overnight. It is something you must choose again and again until one day the weight is no longer there. There is so much waiting for you beyond what you are afraid to release. There are new experiences, new people, new opportunities that you cannot see while your hands are still holding on to the past. Letting go is an act of faith. It is a commitment to yourself, to your growth, to your future. It is a declaration that you deserve more than what is hurting you, that you are strong enough to move forward, that you are ready to create space for something better. Letting go is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to strength. It is the recognition that not everything and everyone is meant to stay, that some people return not out of love but out of comfort, and that not everyone deserves a second chance. Life moves in cycles, and unfinished lessons will continue to resurface until they are fully understood. But true growth comes when you break free from these cycles, when you refuse to settle for what no longer aligns with your peace, and when you choose yourself over attachments that hinder your evolution. The power of letting go lies in trust. Trusting that what is meant for you will never require you to beg, suffer, or stay stuck in pain. It is through releasing what no longer serves you that you create space for what truly does.